Reading is something that you do outside of your work. If you are doing reading during your work, that is to accomplish a task or to work on a project or to expand your knowledge on the issue that is at hand. Reading that you do outside of your work is reading that would grow you as a person, grow you as a professional.
Hello and welcome back to the Superpower YouTube channel. Our guest today is Aakritee Tiwari. Ma'am is a first and the youngest Indian origin lawyer in Sweden to head a Swedish company's legal and compliance department. With a career spanning India, the UAE, and now Sweden, she is breaking barriers and setting new benchmarks in the legal industry. Her journey is one of resilience, commitment, passion for law, making history with every step. Beyond her corporate responsibilities, she is committed to giving back to the legal community by mentoring young professionals and lawyers in India, Dubai, and Sweden. She helps them navigate their career paths and achieve their professional aspirations. She is also a mother to twins and calls Stockholm, Sweden, her home. We welcome you, Aakritee ma'am. My name is Anshi, and I work as an associate with the Super Lawyer team. At Super Lawyer, we aim to showcase the inspiring journeys of legal professionals, offering valuable insights and guidance to motivate broader legal community and empower our readers as they navigate their own legal careers. We have Divya Dwivedi ma'am with us. Ma'am is a team lead at Super Lawyer and has extensive expertise in legal and technology matters, including AI, ethics, privacy, technology law, and related areas. She also practices at the Supreme Court of India, offering valuable insights into complex legal issues. I request Divya ma'am to now please take the dais. Thank you so much for being with us, ma'am.
Thank you, Anshi, for bringing in this interview. Hello and welcome, Aakritee, for this episode of Super Lawyer YouTube channel. We are excited to have your views on several topics which are very close to my heart and Super Lawyer team's heart as well. Most welcome and thank you for carving out this much time for us. And hopefully you will enjoy the interview as much we will enjoy asking you the questions for our conversation. Most welcome.
Thank you for the warm welcome.
Thank you so much. So let's begin with the question and the conversation. So you already have more than 9 years of experience, including civil and common law jurisdictions. Would you be comfortable sharing the kind of initial reason for your interest in law, as well as any particular event or any kind of maybe realization or someone who guided you through this whole process in order to make sure that you have the better career? And as you are leading one of the biggest institutions in Sweden, being the first Indian woman over there, please do share it with our audience who are new learners, new entrants for law.
My father was the one who encouraged me to consider law as a career, as opposed to what I wanted actually. So I wanted to be an artist. I am a very creative person, and through my childhood and when I was in school, I participated in every art competition. I participated in slogan writing competitions in Delhi, also represented my school at national level, won a lot of awards. So by the time I reached class 10, I realized that art is my calling. This is what I do best. And then came that moment which really paved my journey to law. So one evening, me and my family, we were having dinner, sitting at the dining table, and my father asked me, "So what do you plan to do after school?" And my instant excited reply was, "I want to be an artist." So he is a chartered accountant. He has his own firm, and he said, "Okay, do you have a plan B? Because getting into a art university is also very difficult." I said, "I don't really have a plan B." To which he said, "What do you think about law as a career?" And I was listening. So he said, "See, as an artist, it would take you some time till you can build yourself after the university and you can start earning," which was actually true. And then he said that, "Imagine, what if you study law? How much better your art would be sold if you are a lawyer and also an artist." And that for me was a brilliant idea. So from class 10th to 12th, I started preparing for both the art university and the law university. And I realized over the period of preparation, I have developed an increasing interest in law because I realized that in art you have to be creative. You have to have a vision which you would make it to reality. Then you perceive some things and then you align it with your vision and then you would paint. And that is the same in law. Now, when I look back, I see that, okay, I pull out a Word document, draft a legal document. Then, if that document is a contract, for example, then that contract would be negotiated. Then that contract would be signed. Then that contract would have an expiry date. We would renew it. So, I am building a relationship. I am bringing into an existence of something which was just an idea first. So I entered into the university in 2007, graduated 2012, and proudly became the first lawyer of my family.
Wow. I would say appreciation should go to your dad. Reason being, he actually had that vision of not giving you a long counseling session, but just putting in front of you the way you can combine both your interests and be a better artist in the legal fraternity. Because that is another art to put a proper draft or to make sure that the negotiations are happening according to what you need. It's a beautiful story. Thank you for sharing that particular story. After this, you also did your master's in business and corporate law. What was the motivation behind that particular specialization, and how has that particular understanding of business and corporate law doing your master's helped you make your career trajectory reach to the point where you wanted or as you planned?
So I gained a working experience before I decided I want to pursue masters. And in my university, we were encouraged to do internship in every semester. So by the time I had finished university, I had a couple of internships with law firms like Amarchand, Jyoti Sagar. And then when I started working, again, I had an experience. So while having this experience, I could really assess, analyze, understand what is my area of strength, where do my interests really go, and what is my passion. So I realized looking back at my experience, and I decided to pursue my master's in 2015. So these years, I realized my area has always been business and corporate law. That is how I decided, okay, this is the master's that I want to pursue. Now, because I pursued masters in business and corporate law, and one of our subjects was international business, that really helped me set the foundation of what I will be doing in the future. So I developed curiosity and interest towards cross border transactions, conflict management, assessing the different legal landscapes. How do you set up companies in a country which is not your area of expertise? Those questions really made me think, read more, and that became my passion. So I would say passion and curiosity led me to where I am now.
And in a way, your internships and the kind of job that you did, that also helped. While doing all of these things related to business and corporate law, you have also worked with, as you yourself said, with prominent companies. How has that working, or maybe doing internships or doing a job, paved your way for international legal practice? What were the preparations or the kind of thought process you have had in order to make sure that you transition from national to international practice?
Like I said, curiosity. I think curiosity is my superpower. I realized that because I was curious of reading, of meeting professionals, of going to events, that really helped me deepen my understanding of law, prepare me for the international practice. So, what happens when I encounter something unfamiliar? Because I'm a curious person, it would compel me to read more, reach out to people who have done a similar thing, or if there is a case law that talks about a similar situation, or if there is a post which talks about a similar legal issue, but that legal issue happened in a different jurisdiction. And if I already know something, so my curiosity pushes me to observe fellow lawyers. How did they approach this subject matter? How did they approach this issue? And then it helps me to refine my understanding, my expertise, and that really helps me to improve continuously.
Since you said that curiosity is your superpower, what made you transition from national, especially India, to Dubai and then to Sweden? And the kind of changes that you saw in all these jurisdictions, how did that help you actually reach your love, I would say, for business and corporate law? And what kind of practice did you do that you actually got what you wanted? Because there are certain times when even learners or the people who are already practicing, they do not know the exact way, or maybe they cannot plan their path as they wish. But you not only wished, you have already overcome that, and you have reached to that space where you can decide your practice, further expansion, and everything. So, how did you do that, and what are your suggestions for the same?
When I was in India and I was working with Ansal Housing, I got this opportunity of working on an international arbitration. And now, if I reflect back, I think I was put in that project because of my curiosity. Because I'm very enthusiastic and I would really love to put an extra hour if it is something that I don't really know. So, that experience of working on an international arbitration combined with my experience and my study of international business law, that made me realize that I am ready to step out of my comfort zone, which was India. And I realized that if I want to work on cross border transaction, work with international clients, be ready to negotiate deals which are happening in an international sphere, I need to be outside. And I still remember I had a conversation with my then manager, who is the general counsel of Ansal Housing, an amazing mentor and a wonderful manager. And it was he who really said that, see, if you go and if you don't like, you can always come back. But if you wouldn't go, you wouldn't really know what is your potential. And I think that was the best mentorship advice he could have given me. So I found this opportunity of a law firm in Dubai and I moved to Dubai. It was very scary because I was moving abroad for the first time. I was always been taken care of in India, but now I was taking care of myself. And it is a very international space. So the work culture is like that, and the expectation from you as a lawyer is different. So I was working in this law firm. We were a batch of international lawyers working together on international issues. And every new client that we had in the law firm was from a different jurisdiction. So that really put me in a position where I, of course, had to know the law of India because that is where I am coming from. And it is expected that I can advise on Indian laws. But I was expected to work on an issue which a client who is from Australia and he wants to set up a company in Dubai, or transactioning a partnership happening with cement manufacturing company from China who wants to set up the manufacturing company in Spain. So you would understand the nuances of both these jurisdictions. So I realized that experience and that ease of moving from one jurisdiction to another really helped me globally connect, helped me easily move from one jurisdiction to another, and it no longer was a challenge. Then, when I moved to Sweden, it was very different from how it was in Dubai because now I became a wife, also a mother, and I was in a country in which the first language is Swedish. So then my third language became Swedish. So Hindi, English, and then Swedish. So I realized that now I need to deepen my understanding of the local laws and also the EU laws, because in every European country, you would first look at the local laws and then you would look at the EU law if there is any precedent or if there is a law that reflects on the legal issue that you're working on. So that is what Sweden gave me. helped me deepen my understanding of local and European laws. And I would say this path or this journey I was on, what really helped me was strategic thinking, being committed to the goal that I set for myself, adaptability, and lots of hard work. The reason why I say hard work is that there is so much of pre work that I have to do, or any lawyer who moves from a different country to a new country has to do, which may or may not be directly proportional to the role that you would be performing. For example, if you're moving to a European country or a non English speaking country, you would have to learn the language. And then you would have to understand how is the working culture in that country, because that is also very different. Like leadership style, what I saw leadership style in India, in Dubai, and in Stockholm, Sweden is very different. So you need to understand the cultural nuances. So navigating those cultural and regulatory difference was a crucial aspect of having an international career, I would say. Then maintaining a strong network of local lawyers. So I didn't forget my roots. I still am connected with Indian lawyers who are experts, so I can reach out to them on knowing what is happening. So, like just a week back, my manager, who is the CEO, he was asking, what is the impact of the tariffs that US is making now in India? So, had I not read that, I wouldn't know that. Had I not been connected with my local friends, I wouldn't know that how is it impacting. So these small skills really bridge or really help me bridge the international legal career. One tip that I would like to give to a student who wants to pursue an international legal career, or a person who's already working, he wants to move abroad, have a strong network of professionals and have a strong network of local lawyers who you can reach out to for advice, who you can reach out to reassess your thoughts, your analysis on a legal issue. Having a group of professionals who you can trust is a game changer if you are moving abroad or if you want to have a global legal career.
Wow. Such a nice way to understand jurisdictional change. Yes, culture makes a lot of difference. And we have lived in different kind of culture. Apart from what we follow, there are different leadership styles. Thank you for bringing that up as well. After relocating to Sweden, you took maternity leave as well. How did you make yourself return to the workforce without the so-called guilt that we always have as working moms? Second, how did you continue your professional development during the time when you were not there practicing? What were the strategies? How did you connect with the industry? Like you said, that we need to be connected with not only good lawyers but local lawyers as well, who can give you the nuances and the kind of update that you need, be it in India, be it in Dubai, or right now you are in Sweden. So how does that work for you? And during that time, how did you make sure that you don't lose that particular connect? What were your ways or strategies, I would say?
I never truly stepped out of the legal field. I was very focused and I always knew that I want to continue being a lawyer. I want to continue my legal profession. And I would say when you move abroad, it's a great opportunity to reassess whether you want to have the same career or you want to maybe branch out to something different. For me, you know, it is law. It has been law, it is law. So I knew, okay, after I resuming my career after the maternity leave, it would be law. So I had that in mind and I had the preparation ready. So for me, maternity leave, which we over here call parental leave, was actually not a break, it was a form of professional growth. I looked at the break as a time to invest in myself, to refine my skills, and to actually prepare for the biggest and the most difficult role, which is of being a parent. And I was being a twin mother, which is, let me tell you, it's a full time job. You are a parent yourself, you know, it's challenging. So during the parental leave time, and also because I was moving to Sweden, I took the time to familiarize myself with the culture, the education system, understanding the local laws, and understanding the regulations. Then I actively also followed the domestic developments, which are the developments that are happening in India and in Dubai. Because if I say that I am an international lawyer and I have worked in India and Dubai, the expectation is that I know what is happening in the industry. So it comes with a lot of responsibility. So I kept myself updated. Then it was my time to again assess my skills, identify my area of growth, because now I would be stepping into a new jurisdiction. So I stayed focused, connected with my friends who are based in India, who are working in house and also practicing as lawyers. I still follow professionals on LinkedIn who talk about leadership, who talk about the changes that are happening in the industry. I read newsletters. I love reading. I read a lot. I enrolled myself in the Swedish language course. So, this continuous preparation for what I want to do once I resume my career really helped me to stay confident of my skills and also to bring a very fresh perspective to the role that I would be doing. Staying focused, committed to law, my passion for reading, then my curiosity of knowing. So, a very small example I'll give you. Like in India, we remove our shoes outside and then we would step into the house. It's the same in Sweden. So, understanding these similarities, and like for us in India, that the tea culture is something that brings two people together. So, if you want to call somebody home, you would call for tea. And in Sweden, you would call them for coffee. And there is a culture called fika. So it is, you have to be mindful of taking breaks. And those breaks are about you sitting with your colleague or you sitting with your friends, unwinding and connecting. So my curiosity led me to learn so many new things. So I already felt that I am at home. I know what the culture is about. I fairly understand the language. So I was ready. I was ready for the next step.
Oh my God, there is so much to learn from you, and the way you carry yourself and plan your future, it's absolutely astonishing. I think that is what is needed for everyone, and probably that has brought you being the head of legal and compliance at VeeOne AB. What kind of primary factors were there? You already have said a lot about your commitment to your reading, to your learning culture. How did you foresee the kind of role that you were going forward for? Especially, it is totally technology driven industry. So, what kind of new learnings did you do while you were transitioning towards being the head of this number one company over there?
Preparation is the key in anything that we do in our life. This role was a little different because this industry was new to me. So, VeeOne is a company in crew planning. My focus on legal compliance stemmed from the fact that to have a strong foundation, you need to have a robust regulatory framework. The role of legal and compliance has evolved and I would say has become complex. Earlier, it was very traditional. Even for a lawyer, it was traditional. Either you are in a law firm, or you are in a court, or you are in a company. Now, when there are other factors, like there is AI, there is data privacy, there are regulatory landscapes that really come into play, and that makes the environment more complex and dynamic. So I foresee that to perform well in this role, I need to shift my approach from being reactive to be proactive. So there has to be a shift in strategy where there has to be a risk analysis done even before the risk can or may not occur. So we in VeeOne, we try to integrate compliance with innovation or new ideas so we can mitigate the risk. And I think That is what a lot of companies are also trying to do to have a competitive advantage in the global market.
While you are doing all of this, you also read a lot. First, I would like to ask, how do you carve out that much time with being a full-time mother to twins, then working your way up in your organization, being the head, you are the most responsible one. So, what kind of books do you read to keep yourself inspired, to shape your perspective? Like you said, you follow newsletters also of leadership styles and others. How do you connect all that with your legal understanding and implement it in your career? For the new aspirants or the graduates who are coming up, if they want to pursue similar kind or maybe same pathway, because there are many people who plan but then sometimes the plan doesn't work, so what will be your suggestion, the kind of journals that they should read or they should go through, the kind of books, resources that you may recommend, and to build the kind of mindset of always being prepared as yours, what all guidance would you like to give them?
First, I would say, and this could be controversial, that reading that you do during work is not something I would say is reading. Reading is something that you do outside of your work. If you are doing reading during your work, that is to accomplish a task or to work on a project or to expand your knowledge on the issue that is at hand. Reading that you do outside of your work is reading that would grow you as a person, grow you as a professional. So, that being said, so when I say reading, it is outside my work. For me, mostly it has been biographies, and I am more inclined towards non-fiction. I have tried reading fiction, but I again gravitate towards non-fiction. So it's not that I haven't tried, I've tried. So biographies that have really shaped my perspective on life and also on the legal field has been of Nani Palkiwala, J.R.D. Tata, and very recently I read this biography of Haben Grimma. Must read, a beautiful book. She is the first American disability rights advocate. She is the first blind to graduate from Howard Law School. And the work that she is doing for the disability community is amazing. So, that is on the biography part. Somebody who wants to start reading, haven't read before, but wants to have that habit, I would suggest a book called Creativity by John Cleese. A very thin book, a very quick read. It talks about how creativity is not something you are born with, it is a skill that you can develop. What makes the book really interesting is that John Cleese is a lawyer. He went to Cambridge to study law. Eventually, he became a comedian, and he's a very popular comedian. So, that is something that I would suggest to somebody who's wanting to read, planning to read, has little time, but still wants to get into the habit of reading or come back to reading. Since the role of a lawyer has transformed from, at least when I graduated, it was still very traditional. Now it has transformed to beyond the traditional lawyer, which is either you are in litigation or you are giving legal advice. I think creativity is now a skill that can help us as professionals, as legal professionals, be ahead of AI. Because there could be possibilities when, for example, a very small example, review of contracts. If you are very, very good at contracts, there are extremely good contract management platforms, contract review platforms, which can review a contract for you, maybe better than what we can do, quicker than what we can do. So, if you want to stay ahead of AI as a professional, creativity is the skill that is a must. And I would generalize your question when you said somebody who wants to have a legal career. I would say cultivating a hobby, and that hobby should be consistent, something that you would like to do every day. It could be running, it could be reading, it could be swimming, it could be vlogging. Having a personal passion outside of work will help you contribute to your life, your personal life, and to your professional life in a wonderful way. And your journey as a professional would be very fulfilling, because there are days as a professional, especially as a lawyer, some days are very tense, some days are not those tense. So you really need help when those days are tensed. So I would say having a consistent hobby. Then the second most important thing would be finding a mentor. Having a mentor is extremely important. That is how you can have a continuous growth, which is required if you are in this profession. For me, I have been very fortunate that I have had amazing mentors throughout my career. Always have a mentor, I would say. You are never too expert to not have a mentor. Then the books that I am reading right now, I usually read two books. One is mostly related to legal, and the other is mostly related to non legal. The first book is Range by David Epson. The author talks about how individuals who explore multiple discipline, that really helps you have a broad skill set. So you would have multiple tools, and then you can really narrow down those expertise to one thing that you would really like to do. So I would say the sum of the book is that sampling is the key to success. And now, if I look back, for me also, because of my internships, because of my experiences, when I decided that I want to pursue masters in business and corporate law, I had done my sampling. So I had worked with LPOs, I had worked with judges, I had worked with senior lawyers. I did my sampling. I realized, yes, this is what I want to do, and this is my area of interest. Then the second interesting book that I'm reading, and thanks to my current manager, the CEO of my company, he recommended me that book. That book is called Getting to V, Negotiating Agreements as Highly Collaborative Relationship. So this book is written by a university professor and two lawyers. One of the lawyer is a Swedish lawyer. So the book tells 5-step process to create a collaborative agreement.
Wow. What beautiful recommendations. Thank you for sharing that particular thing. I won't be asking you about how do you balance your work and life. I will ask you, how do you plan your day? Because
Mhm.
you being a mother to twins, how do you plan is something which I would personally love to learn, that it does not hamper your personal life as well as your public life, along with your twins as well, because they also need you for a substantive amount of time. It's not like you just cannot be with them. So, me struggling with the same, I would love to ask you your plan of the day. How do you start it? How do you make sure that you have ample time for everything that you do? And you have your own personal space, not being evaded by that, so that you can find that time for maybe reading or just relaxing and giving yourself enough time to have that superpower back, that curiosity being there, and you always keep on moving ahead and ahead. How do you do that?
You gave out the keyword, which is planning. I would put a prefix, which is strategic planning. So, first, it is strategic planning. Then, because both of us are working, both of us have a very demanding schedule, managing our time, managing our schedule, that is what we do. So, generally, our day would look like the twins are off to school and I'm at work, my husband is at work. We would come home, and some days after work, I would go to an event, I would meet friends. And if I'm not doing that, I would come home. Then it would be cooking together over here. It's all about involving the child, no matter how small that child is. So it would be cooking with them. And we have created a habit of asking, how was your day? So as soon as I step in the house, they would ask me, how was your day? I would ask them, how was your day? After having the meal, we would watch TV. And that is, I think, something that I realized is great, because we switched on TV for them when they were very young, and the TV is always on. So now for them, TV is furniture, it's not TV. So even if the TV is on, they would not necessarily want to watch the TV. They would want to play, or they would want to paint, or they want to color. So TV is always on the background, and that actually helps us to build their language, because in the school they go to a Swedish preschool. On the TV we have English programs and we speak with them in Hindi. So they're always listening. And we are doing these activities together, which is either watching the TV or coloring or cooking. And then once the twins have slept, it is either my time with my husband. We would either watch something or I would read. So that is what our schedule looks like. I make sure that I invest time with my friends, with my husband. I attend events. I mentor in Sweden also. I have two mentors right now, giving time to them. Upskilling myself, which is through reading, that would directly relate to me, but also I have to read about how can I be a better mentor, or if my mentee has some questions and I don't know about it, so I need to prepare myself. Then it is parenting. We were talking about parenting, the most crucial role. So there is a lot of reading about what activities can we give the twins, how can we keep them engaged, if they have a question, what should be the right answer for that question. So I think if I know, okay, the task that I have for me in a day, and you gave the keyword which is planning, so I do strategic planning. That is how we plan, I would say.
What a beautiful way of strategically planning not only career but life and planning it for your twins. I'm so grateful to you that you have shared all these crucial points which should reach to not only working moms but parents as a unit, because both of them have to work together in order to make sure that your life is planned or strategically planned, as you say. Thank you so much for being here and giving us such food for thought and enlightening us with several points which you have already learned from your multi jurisdictional practice. It's an amazing experience, and today's interview has taught me a lot of things, not only about legal fraternity, legal understanding, but for parenting as well. Thank you so much, Akriti, for being here, and thank you so much for being so humble in order to share all these things, carving out time, even though you are the head of the community over there, still you found out time for our Super Lawyer episode. Thank you so much once again. It's an amazing experience today. Thanks a lot.